Hi everyone, and welcome to the Tribe Life's 30 Days of Yoga. Today is day 9, so welcome. Excited to have you here. For today's class, just continuing with building the heat, right? So week 1 was all about kind of easing into everything, and now with week 2, we're working to build some heat, moving the bodies a little bit more than we did in week 1, and having fun, right? We're just trying to feel good here, get our bodies moving, and create some space in our mind and our body in the process. So when you're ready, roll out your mat and we'll begin day 9. So for day 9, start in a nice comfortable seated position as we work to just arrive onto our mats here, okay? So looking to get in a nice comfortable seated position. Again, you can always lift your hips up with a blanket or even a pillow works sometimes too. You can place the palms down or up, whatever feels good for you. And just take an inhale as you roll your shoulders up and back. In all my classes, I always take just a minute or two to really arrive onto the mat because our days can be really crazy, right? And sometimes even just finding the time to sit down and do this practice can be challenging. So first, it might sound silly, but just congratulate yourself. Like, feel good about arriving here and doing something for you today. So with that gratitude in mind, just start to tune into your body and your breath. Taking a few deep breaths to just unwind and relax into this seated position. And as we breathe here, tuning into your body, noticing where you have some tension. For me, my hips right now feel a little stiff, so I'm just noticing that, right? Paying attention. Just tuning into those details. Again, no judgment. Just noticing, observing. Relaxing the space between your eyebrows. And then lastly, setting your intention for class. And then you can open your eyes. Inhale, reaching your arms up overhead. Just feeling a nice stretch here. Maybe roll the palms up to the sky. Gentle lean to each side. And then releasing the arms. We'll come forward and just press into downward facing dog. So taking our time here, always walking out the dog to stretch out the calves, the ankles, and maybe sliding your ankles to one side and then the other side, and feeling that stretch in the side body. And bending your knees a lot here. Okay, so really bending the knees, letting your chest rest against the thighs. And when you bend the knees, noticing how that takes some tension off the lower back, allows you to really stretch out through the front side body and the side bodies. And take another breath here. And then straightening the legs, you can lift that right leg up and back. Bending the knee, opening the hip here. And then re-squaring the hip, stepping that right leg forward. Dropping that back knee. We'll rise up into low lunge. So lifting with the heart, really feeling that stretch right here. So I had said that tension in my hips, I was feeling this is really going to help. So maybe you're feeling the same way. So really leaning and stretching into that, making sure that front knee stays over that front ankle. Always remember that you can slide a blanket under that back knee too if that this pose hurts there for you. And then straightening that front leg, flexing the foot, we'll forward fold. I always feel pretty stiff in this pose, so just a few things to consider. You can always prop your hands up on blocks if you have them as you reach and lengthen to the top of your head. And working to have a long spine here. So it's less about getting the head to the thigh and really just about wherever you are, what gets you to feel that stretch in that right leg. So remembering to flex that right foot. And then rebending that knee, planting the hands, lifting up on that back foot, so lifting that back knee, planting the left hand, and then twisting over to the right. Reaching the right arms to the sky, the right fingers to the sky. Back knee is lifted, you're pressing through that heel. And then dropping that right hand, stepping with that left foot forward to match the right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Stay in here for a few breaths. Driving opposite elbows. You can rock from side to side. I always like to shake out my head, yes and no. Especially if you hold any tension in your neck and shoulders. Just moving around, whatever feels good for you here. And then dropping the arms, bending the knees slightly, and then rising up with the chest. Inhale, reaching the arms up to the sky. Exhale, bring your hands to heart, bending the knees, lowering the hips, coming to chair. So a few things, noticing if your feet are together, big toes touching, the knees touching, sinking the weight back into the heels, lowering the hips and lifting the chest. You can straighten the arms out as well. So we're building some heat, really engaging the abs, lifting the navel. Strong through the fingertips, shoulders away from ears. Taking another breath, sinking the weight down, hips lowering one more inch. And then straightening the legs, rising all the way up. Bring your hands to heart. Pause for a breath. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands. Jump or step back to plank. Yogi's choice, take a flow or press back to down dog. Taking a few breaths. Taking time to stretch out those legs. And then inhale, lift that left leg up and back. Bending the knee, opening the hip. Re-squaring that hip and then stepping that left foot forward, dropping that back foot down. Rising up to low lunge on the other side. So really breathing and leaning into that right hip. Feeling that stretch. Again, you can always use a blanket or a block. And then straightening that front leg, forward fold. So my left side is always so stiff. So if we're trying to flex this flex that left foot. So feeling that you're squaring the hips and you'll really feel that stretch. This is another time where you can use the blocks. I probably need them right now. And as you breathe, it's not about getting that chest or the head to that thigh. It's just about whatever you need to do to feel this stretch for your body, what feels good. So for me, this feels good right now as I'm flexing that foot and leading with the heart as I fold. And then rebending that knee, planting the hands, lifting the back toes and back knee up, planting that right hand, twisting over to the left. So we're flexing through that back heel, back knees lifted, long through the top of the head, and twisting, bringing that left palm and left fingers up to the sky. And then planting that left hand, stepping that right foot to match the left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Taking a few breaths. Maybe rocking forward and back. Noticing how that feels. Releasing the arms, slight bend in the knees. Inhale, lifting up all the way to stand, Tadasana, as you relax the arms by your side. Bring your hands to your heart, bending the knees, lowering the hips, coming to chair. So again, looking down, making sure your big toes are touching, your feet together, knees together. As you sink back, the weight into your heels as you lower the hips down and reach up with the heart. You can even straighten the front arms, straighten out the arms forward. Continuing to breathe as you sink your hips back. Again, shoulders away from ears, lowering your hips 1 more inch, and then straightening up, releasing your arms back by your sides. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, stepping back to plank. Yogi's choice. Take a flow or just lift the hips up and back, pulling back to downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths. Bending the knees, pressing back to child's pose. Really resting your head, especially that forehead, down onto the ground and feeling the release in the shoulders. Maybe bringing the shoulders back behind you for any shoulder release. We'll take another breath here. And then rising up onto all fours. Palms under shoulders, knees under hips. And you can always roll the hips out. Palms under shoulders, knees under hips, and then rolling the hips and the shoulders just in any way that feels good, right? Loosening up the spine, maybe rolling everything clockwise and counterclockwise in small circles. You can swing your hips up and around for bigger circles, just seeing how that feels. Taking another breath as you just move freely and allowing your body to move in ways that it needs right now, honoring that, just paying attention to that. And then coming back to all fours, we'll do cat-cow. Again, palms under shoulders, knees under hips, and as you drop the belly, reaching the chest forward, heart up to the sky, and gaze up, upward. As you open the chest, and then dropping the head, rounding the back, rounding the spine, pressing into the palms, separating between the shoulder blades, really creating space here. Gazes back at your navel. And then back to a neutral spine. So doing that one more time, dropping the belly wide across the collarbones, reaching forward with the chest, gazes up. And then dropping the head, rounding the back, separating between the shoulder blades and really pressing into the palms. Lifting that navel up as you round the spine and then releasing, coming back to a neutral spine. Flipping the toes under, we'll press back to downward facing dog. Looking forward between the hands, you can jump, step, or walk your feet up in between your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bending the knees, lowering the hips. Bringing the hands to the heart as you rise up again to chair pose. So really focusing on hugging the knees together, lowering the hips, sinking the weight back into the ankles, lifting the heart. Really lengthening the spine through the top of the head and then twisting over to your left. Right arm outside the left thigh. And as you twist, again, always reaching through the top of the head and sinking the hips back, looking down at your knees, making sure that they're in line. Sometimes that right knee wants to shoot forward. So just checking that alignment as you twist, feeling the stretch and behind the, in between the shoulder blades. And then coming back to center, twisting to the other side, left elbow outside right thigh. Lengthening through the top of the head as you twist a little deeper, sinking the hips back. Again, checking that knee alignment. And then coming back to center, rising all the way up to stand. Arms to the sky. Grabbing onto that right wrist with your left hand. Inhale, reaching up to the sky. Exhale, leaning over to the left. Feeling that stretch on that right side body. Inhale, coming back to center. Switching sides, grabbing onto that left wrist. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, leaning over to the right. And coming back to center, releasing the arms, grabbing the wrist behind the back. Inhale, lifting the chin and chest. And then releasing the arms. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, stepping back to plank. Yogi's choice, take a flow. Or press back to downward facing dog. Releasing the knees, pressing back to child's pose. Checking back in with your breath. And then rising back up. Come to a seated position with your legs in front of you. Flexing the feet. Take our time with our arms out in front of us. Just rolling down onto our backs, one vertebrae at a time. Engage in the abs here as you slide down. That helps with guiding the speed of that. And then hugging that right knee into the chest. You can rock it side to side a little bit. Maybe pulling it up by that right shoulder. And then straightening that leg and keeping the left leg lifted and straight as well. But straightening that right leg, flexing in that foot. You can grab behind the thigh or For a deeper stretch, you can grab onto the shin. You can also use a blanket or a towel if you can't quite reach your leg, that's fine. We just want to work to stretch that leg out. So we'll take a few breaths here in the center as you flex that foot. Really reaching through the heel. Continuing to breathe. And then keeping that foot where it is, turn the toes over to the left a little bit. And just noticing how that feels a little different. Maybe it activates a new muscle, stretching out a new part of that leg. So just noticing that as we're stretching here, just keeping the shoulders away from the ears as well. Long spine, heavy bottom leg, bottom left leg. And again, keeping that foot where it is, just slowly rotate the toes out to the right. Continuing to breathe. Keeping the leg where it is. You can bring that, grab the outside of that right leg with your left arm, right arm to the side, up to the side on the right, and just cross that leg over for a gentle spine twist here. If your leg can't quite make it to the ground, you can always prop it up with a blanket or a block. Just taking a deep breath. And then coming back to center. Very slowly reaching that right heel, lowering it all the way to the ground. Taking a moment here to just pause and notice the difference between the right side and the left. Noticing maybe the right side feels maybe a little tingly. For me, it feels a little tingly as the blood kind of rushes back to that leg, and it feels nice and long. So we'll do that on the other side now. So hugging the left knee into the chest, rocking from side to side as you open that hip, maybe pulling it up towards your shoulder. And keeping that right leg long, you can lift that left leg up to the sky, flexing through that foot. So my left leg is always more stiff than my right. And so that's another thing here, is just paying attention to that stuff, right? So just pay attention to that, noticing, those little things about our bodies that maybe we just kind of ignore. So as you stretch through that left leg, again, you can use a blanket or a towel to help with grabbing that leg, and just keep that leg flexed, reaching, stretching through that left leg, shoulders away from your ears, feeling relaxed, right? That left leg is engaged, and this might be a pretty difficult pose for you, but doing your best to relax the rest of your muscles and just kind of isolate that stretch. Then keeping that foot where it is, you can drop the toes over to the right a little bit, just twisting, seeing how that feels different. What new muscles we're engaging. And then again, rotating the toes out to the left. Just feeling how this feels a little different. And I'll have you pause in different places, and some may feel difficult to you, some may feel great. And the point when we do that is to really try and create some space for you to reflect, to notice, to just be. I think that it's those pauses in between the poses that is really the magic of yoga. So something to think about. Bringing that foot back to center, and then taking that right arm, grabbing the outside of that leg, left arm out to the side, just gently dropping that leg across the body for a spine twist. And then bringing it back up to center. And again, taking your time, just slowly lowering that left leg all the way to the ground. You can hug your knees into your chest, rocking from side to side. We'll come into a bridge pose, so planting the feet down on the ground, knees to the sky, arms are long by your side. As you press into the heels, lifting the hips up, maybe you're sliding your hands underneath, grabbing onto the wrists, maybe rocking your shoulders underneath, opening the chest, and as you press into the heels, you're lifting the hips, reaching and keeping the knees in line, hips distance apart, not letting them, kind of fly out, and pressing into the heels, lifting the hips, lifting, and relaxing the glute muscles as you continue to press into the heels, lifting the hips 1 more inch, holding it here. And then slowly releasing all the way down to the mat. Hugging the knees into the chest, rocking from side to side. And then we'll come into final Shavasana. So straightening your legs out in front of you, allowing your feet to fall away from each other and arms by your side, palms to the sky. Take a deep inhale through your nose. Exhale out your mouth. And for the next minute or so, just breathing, allowing yourself to melt into your mat. Slowly start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, reaching your arms up overhead, stretching from your fingertips to the tips of your toes. And taking your time, rolling onto your right side body. Pausing here for a breath or two before making your way up to a nice, comfortable seated position. Inhale, reaching your arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. I always close practice with a moment of gratitude, thinking of one thing you're grateful for and holding it in your heart. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste. Congratulations, my friend. You just finished day 9 of the 30 Days of Yoga Challenge. I hope you'll join me tomorrow for day 10. And if you have any friends or family that you think would enjoy the challenge, have them practice with us. They can start on their own time for day 1 or start with us tomorrow for day 10. And don't forget to subscribe either, so that way you don't miss tomorrow's class and the future classes. That way you'll know when a new video is uploaded. So thank you for practicing with me today. I will see you tomorrow for day 10.